Well, that's me all over, Danny.
Oh, so I've just started recording now. So if I could please ask you to pop yourself onto mute unless you're going to be speaking or asking questions. There will be a portion of the call later on for you to ask questions. Um, so if you wouldn't mind just popping yourself onto mute, that would be amazing. So welcome in everyone. This is the launch call of the Property Education and Learning Network. So that is the PropEL network. We're super excited to have you. We've been working really hard in the background to get this up and running and delivered to you. So really happy to see so many people from so many different organizations on the call and names that I don't recognize, which is fantastic. So we can get to know you. So just to let you know some logistics, so Carolyn from my team, she has very kindly offered to drive the slides for me. So you might hear me say next slide. We're not back in COVID days, so it's just Carolyn is helping me out. So Carolyn, if you wouldn't mind just going to the next slide for me, please. Perfect, thank you. So I'm Becky Spencer. I am the Property Apprenticeships Manager in the Office of Government Property and Cabinet Office. I've been working really closely with Claire Johnson from VOA, who is on the call, and also Tony Cheetham, who is either on the call or is just about to join the call. I know he was at a different meeting just this morning there. So I'm just going to take you through the agenda for the call today. So I'm going to take you through PropEL's visions, objectives, and significance. After I have spoken, we will hear from Jake Drummond, who is the Deputy Government Head of Property Profession from the Office of Government Property. So he'll be talking to you about the importance of collaboration and shared learning in the property sector, as well as the importance of building networks that break down silos and promote inclusive collaboration. And then we'll hear from Claire Johnson, as I had pointed out before. Claire is the Deputy Head of Profession from the Valuation Office Agency, and she's also our senior sponsor for property apprenticeships. And Claire will be sharing her insights on the value of knowledge exchange, innovation in property, and how PropEL can benefit colleagues across the public sector. So next slide, please, Carolyn. And then you'll come back to myself and Tony, and that is for the introduction of PropEL activities, roles, recruitment, and how you can get involved. So we'll cover the vacancies that we have available at the moment. We also have a Q&A session, so that is for your questions, also your contributions on what you would like to see from us, and then we'll have closing remarks. So that is how the call will shape up. So Carolyn, could you go on to next slide, please, for me? Amazing. So you're with myself for this section. So PropEL's visions, objectives, and significance. I suppose it's really important for me to tell you how we actually got to where we are today. So when I come into post roughly about 2 years ago, it was my passion, it was my ambition to create an apprentice network. And through the process of, collaborating and investigating and doing some research on how I would go about setting that up, it became apparent that actually, rather than just having a siloed network for apprentices, it became apparent that there were other members of staff from other groups, other peer groups that would benefit from being involved. So rather than just having the apprentice network, that's when we opened up to other learning schemes such as fast stream, graduates, and non-standard schemes. But then also, rather than just being central government, I'd had feedback from some apprentices in local government that they felt that they were disconnected, and wanted to be able to communicate with their peers from central government. So that was when I took the decision to, rather than just being siloed to government, central government, we expanded to public sector. So central government, local government, arm's length bodies. So that is how the PropEL network, I suppose, started in one guise, and and evolved forward to what we have today. So our vision is to provide a pioneering network that is rooted in fostering collaboration with its community and offering our colleagues a space to be able to learn and share best practice and share skills with colleagues from across the public sector, and colleagues who are thinking about or who are on a pathway to property accreditation. We want the network to be strong, resourceful, and to promote the valuable experience and knowledge that we have, and sharing that across our network. Our objectives, as you can see on the screen there, are to facilitate networking opportunities among our early talent colleagues. That also includes if you're at any stage in your career, if you're on a learning scheme and accreditation pathway, that includes you in there, absolutely. Promote collaboration on projects and initiatives. We want to share best practice, experience, and professional skills, and encourage the development of leadership capabilities within the network. We also want to establish a sustainable model of self-governance and growth. So as I had mentioned before, myself, I've been working closely with VOA colleagues to get this project off the ground. So what the aim is, we're helping to launch a project, get our volunteers in place, providing guidance and support. But the hope is that we hand over the network to its members, and it becomes self-sustaining with some governance from ourselves, from GPP. So with regards to the significance, we are the first network that we know of that cuts across public sector, to include central government, local government, and arm's length bodies, and also to include the wide variety of learning schemes that we are. So we're very excited about the launch of PropEL, and we hope that you are too. So in the rest of the session, we've got some really exciting speakers for you. So our next speaker is going to be Jake. Carol, if you wouldn't mind just changing the slide for me, please. So Jake, as I had mentioned before, is the Deputy Director, so Deputy Government Head of the property profession. He's also my big boss, but we're very happy to have him on the call, and he is going to lead you through the next two slides. So I'll hand over to Jake. So Jake, over to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Becky. And can I just say what an absolute privilege it is to be on this call with so many willing colleagues who are giving up their time this morning to come along and get involved in what I think is just such a brilliant initiative. I can't think of anything more powerful than bringing people together in this way, and I guess harnessing the kind of collective wisdom and thought power of so many brilliant colleagues across the property landscape, be that central government, be that local authority, be that arm's length bodies. I think it's just brilliant that we've got so many people who are keen to get this up and running at this early stage. So thank you to Becky and colleagues for getting the project to this point. And yeah, as I say, it's my privilege to be able to just say a few words on this call this morning to be able to get us kicked off. So for those of you who have not met me, my name's Jake Drummond. I'm the Deputy Government Head of the property profession, sitting in the same team as Becky and Carolyn. I've been in this role for a little over a year, probably about 18 months now, in post. It's probably the best job I've ever had, if I'm being really honest with you. So lucky in that I get to work with lots of different people, lots of different departments, and really focus in on exactly the sort of thing that we're talking about today, all about building people, capability, skills, and ultimately enhancing people's experiences in their role and working in the property sector. So Before I moved to this role, I spent about 6 years in the Ministry of Justice, primarily in facilities management roles, but more towards the end of my tenure in the MOJ, I was acting as the Chief Operating Officer for the Property Directorate within the MOJ, which was another really, really interesting and exciting but challenging role. And before that, I was as it probably says on there, I was the estates manager for a multi-academy trust in York, where my career in property started back in 2008. And really what I wanted to do today was to share a couple of stories around my experiences at every stage of my career in property, and really hopefully try and sort of bring to life a little bit why I think that collaboration, networking, sharing stories, sharing experiences with colleagues is so important. Frankly, I think it's probably the most important thing, if I'm being really honest, of everything. You know, technical skills and technical capabilities, of course, are important. It's what underpins what we do in our roles in property. But actually, when you boil it down, it is all about the people, and working together with people is, I think, one of the most important things that we do. And Carolyn has absolutely taken away the opportunity for me to channel my inner Chris Whitty, because I was going to absolutely shamelessly go all COVID and ask for the next slide. But I think, Carolyn, we've been working together for 18 months. You must know me so well by now that she must have known I was transitioning into the next slide. So well done, Carolyn. You win this round. So why do I think it's important? So if we look at the government estate, and I know we've got colleagues from local authorities and ALBs on the call as well today, which is brilliant. But if we just look simply at the government estate, we've got the biggest estate in the whole of the UK by a considerable margin. The best guess on the data that we've got is that the government estate comprises approximately 160 million square metres, which is hard to visualise. But if I was to say that it's roughly the size of the country of Liechtenstein, hopefully that brings it to life a little bit in terms of some of the challenges that we've got. If you add up the book value, include the local authorities, you're looking at around about £500 billion, £500 billion worth of assets on the balance sheet across the central and local government estate, which is eye-watering value, and an eye-watering and really quite a scary proposition. And I think it's for that reason why we shouldn't just look to look at this stuff in silos, and we really need to think about how well we can work together with one another across the whole of the landscape. So while we're talking, there's probably just a couple of little provocations and questions on the slide there, and feel free to drop any thoughts you might have on either of those two questions into the chat. We may well get a bit of time. I don't know. Becky might be glaring at me to have a bit of a chat around it towards the end of the meeting as well. But really keen to hear from you guys. So the first question is, which silos do you think are the most significant in your current area of work? And maybe an idea on how we might try to sort of break some of those silos down. And then secondly, what do we think inclusive collaboration looks like on a project that you're currently involved with? And maybe just a couple of thoughts around that. So maybe as I just sort of meander through the next couple of minutes and tell a couple of small anecdotes from my experience, maybe you can just have a think about that and how it applies to you and impacts on your own area of work and your role currently. Yeah, we've got a little bit of background noise. If I could just ask everyone to just go on mute if you're on the call, please, that'd be fantastic. Thanks. So, as I say, I guess a couple of anecdotes from my experience. So when I was the estates manager for the Multi-Academy Trust, so we're going back to around about 10 years ago now, so 2015. I was still relatively inexperienced at that point. I was newly appointed as the estates manager for the trust. There was 4 schools back in 2015 when we first started, and frankly, we were kind of finding our way a little bit. We were a collective of 4 schools. We'd never tried to run any kind of shared services or joined up property integration or facilities management strategy. It was just, we just hadn't done it. It was 4 schools working alone. So I realised really quickly that we were going to need some help, frankly, from people who've been there and done it before and really knew what they were doing. It was around about that time that the University of York, where my trust was based, had just appointed a new director of estates, really experienced, really knowledgeable, property professional from the university sector who, had frankly, been there and done it all before, really. So I reached out, and you know, the chap was really good enough to give me an hour of his time back then, and really sort of walk me through what he thought a good idea for setting up the functionality for the MAT. He said that he needed an estate strategy. That was something that I'd not even considered. And then he was good enough to sort of really work with me to sort of take the trust through those early days. And I think without that collaboration with a more experienced property professional at that point, we would have really struggled, I think. So that was my first, I guess, experience of sort of reaching out and working with other people from outside of my own organisation to really sort of get that knowledge and experience that I just wouldn't have been able to get from anywhere else. So I guess fast forward a few years and into the civil service, into the Ministry of Justice. I was lucky enough to get onto the level 7 apprenticeship programme. So I was an apprentice between 2019 and 2022, right through the COVID year. So that was an added challenge. At Sheffield Hallam University, which led to an MBA in facilities management. And again, this was just another experience of collaborating and forming a brilliant network with colleagues that I met on the course. So my peers and my colleagues who I did the studying with, we've still got a WhatsApp group, and we still talk to each other today about, because we have people from the NHS, we have people from central government, local government, private sector. We had the whole range of roles represented and sectors represented on that group, and it's probably one of only a relatively small number of occasions where you get to build some really good, deep and lasting relationships with your cohort. And as I say, that's something that even to this day, you know, a few years later, we still talk to each other. We still share stories. Just a few weeks ago, I was on the phone to one of my colleagues on that group who works in the NHS, and we were comparing approaches to a particular challenge. So that was just another example of where I think that collaboration and working with others have really helped. The other constant, I think, in my professional life has been the Institute of Workplace and Facilities Management. So that's the professional body for workplace and FM, the IWFM. Now, I started off around 10 years ago doing some qualifications with IWFM, or BIFM as it was back then. But over the years, my involvement has grown, and I've become more involved with the regional and special interest groups, which is, I think, a brilliant opportunity for anybody to get involved and collaborate and network with colleagues from within the sector, but might work in a slightly different environment to you. And then a couple of years ago, I was fortunate enough to be elected onto the board of the IWFM, where I'm serving as a non-executive director. That again has opened up doors and opportunities for me to work with colleagues from different areas of the built environment workforce, and it's really opened my eyes to other ways of working, and you know, understanding how other colleagues are working on similar challenges. And I think the final example that well, there's probably two more really quickly. Towards the end of my time in the MOJ, I'm sure there'll be colleagues on the call who were around in the RAC days, so reinforced aerated autoclaved concrete, and all of the joy that brought a couple of years ago. That was another example, I think, of government really coming together and working collaboratively. So the team in the Office of Government Property, where I now work, led the charge from the centre, brought together colleagues from different government departments, and really sort of were the central convening voice in that really challenging period of time when the stakes were high. Ministers wanted answers, the public wanted answers in terms of the state of the estate from a RAC perspective, and it was, whilst it was challenging, and I'm sure there's probably people on the call who've still got the battle scars from that period of time. I know that I have. It was a really, really great example, I think, of government coming together and working together on that. And I think the final example of, and this is probably more in my role now, where I see collaboration in action really working, is with the cross-government boards that we have in place. So the FM Task Force, for example, the Property Leaders Board, the award-winning EDI Shadow Board that we have in place, the Heads of Profession Property Profession Board, which met last week just before the awards. These are all examples of us coming together and working in partnership across the property sector within government. And whilst those are formal boards and fora, I think that's why this group today and this networking and PropEL network has got such potential, because all of the stuff that I've just mentioned and all of the stuff that Becky talked about in the vision and the objectives and all of the stuff that everyone else on this call is going to talk about today, I think it all points back to that idea that we are much bigger than the sum of our parts when we really work together and put our minds together for the betterment of the sector and the function. So if I could encourage everyone on the call today to do one thing, that would be to get involved and collaborate and really use this platform and use this network that you'll be able to create as part of this to think about how some of the opportunities that this network will unlock, how they will impact on you, how you can really take the benefits and use it to push your career forward. That would be my advice for everyone today. You won't regret it.
Amazing, Jake. Thank you so much. Really inspirational discussion just there. And just like, whilst you were talking, we did have some contributions in the chat. So from Claire and Lauren, just describing their working situations and the silos that they see within their work. So just to say thank you for those comments to Claire and Lauren. And also Lauren had mentioned, and this really resonated with me, inclusive collaboration for me is a two-way conversation, not a one-way street. Completely agree. And I think that really hits the nail on the head as to what we're trying to do. It's about us all having our voices heard and having a seat at the table to be able to influence change and how we run this network. But thank you so much, Jake. Really appreciate you spending the time to talk with us, and thank you for the positive words. So now we're going to move over to Claire Johnson. Carol, if you could go to the next slide, please. So Claire is a chartered valuation surveyor, and she is the deputy head of the profession in VOA. And as I mentioned before, she is our senior sponsor for property apprenticeships. So Claire, I'll hand over to yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Becky. Hi, everybody. I've got a bit of a frog in my throat this morning, so bear with me if I need to grab some water. But it's really great to be here to talk to you all and welcome you to the very first event of the Property Education and Learning Network, or PropEL. So as Becky said, I'm Claire Johnson. I'm Deputy Head of the Profession at the Valuation Office Agency, and I'm the cross-government Senior Property Apprentice Sponsor. So in the VOA, I'm responsible for ensuring that we have the surveyors that we need to meet both current and future workforce planning needs. So the success of development opportunities like this is at the heart of everything that I do. And also, as Becky said, we've been talking about this network for a while, and been really excited about getting it off the ground. So it's absolutely amazing to see so many of you joining us today, and so from so many different organisations across both central and local government and arm's length bodies. So welcome everybody. So I'm going to start by taking you back to my first days in the profession in the last century when Kylie Minogue was still a soap star and probably before most of you on the call were born. So picture the big shoulder pads, curly perm, etc. So I joined the valuation office as a cadet valuer, which is fortunately a title that we don't use anymore. I studied for a degree part-time whilst working, so essentially one of the early surveying apprentices. So I walked into that office in Leicester on my first day. I was full of curiosity, really eager to learn, but I was also in awe of all the people around me. All the other cadet valuers were further ahead on their qualifications. And I remember sitting there thinking that everybody else seemed so much cleverer than I was and so much more confident in what they were doing. And I wondered whether I'd actually ever feel that I truly belonged in this profession, particularly as at that time only 1% of surveyors were female. So looking back, I realised that actually what helped me most wasn't just the technical training and formal qualifications that I gained. It was the people around me, the people that took time to share their experiences and answer my questions and encouraged me to keep going, even when I doubted myself. So I remember going to sit my APC the first time and saying, I'm not really ready for it. And people around me all said, yes, you are. And I went for it and passed. So I've been really lucky to have a varied career and work with some brilliant colleagues, but I've never forgotten what it felt like to be new, to feel unsure and to wonder if I was good enough. So that's why I believe so strongly in the power of networks. It's not just about exchanging business cards and adding connections on LinkedIn so you look really good. It's about building true relationships that will help you to learn, help you to grow, and crucially help you to help others to do the same. So through my career, I've benefited from joining networks across organisations such as the RICS, where I sit on the East Midlands Regional Board, the Government Property Profession, of course, and ACES, which we'll come to later. And I know that joining a virtual event like this can feel daunting. Some of you might be sitting there wondering, will anybody notice if I don't say anything, or how will I make real connections through a screen? But I've seen firsthand how virtual networks can break down barriers that physical ones sometimes reinforce. So I've worked with colleagues from every corner of the UK and also internationally with valuation organisations across Canada, Australia, Hong Kong, and many more jurisdictions. Many of those people I've never met in person, yet we've built trust, we've shared knowledge, and we've delivered real change together. So what does virtual networking mean? It means that there's no postcode lottery. So whether in Nottingham, Newcastle or Newquay, you'll have the same access to this community. It provides flexible engagement. You can join discussions, mentoring sessions or working groups from wherever you are, whether that's in your bedroom, in your office or in a coffee bar. You'll gain wider perspectives. You'll hear from people that you might never have the opportunity to meet in a traditional office or in a face-to-face event. So I want to share a few things that I've learned about making the most of virtual networks. Be visible and authentic. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself in the chat, as I see some people already have done. Put your camera on if you can, and share a bit about your background. And even mention what you're hoping to get from the event. As Jake said, people remember stories, not just job titles. So share your own story. Ask questions. I remember early in my career, I was probably worried that I might look a bit silly, but now I know that asking good questions is a sign of curiosity and leadership. It gets you noticed. Use the chat, use polls, breakout rooms, and get involved. Remember to follow up. Some of my most valuable professional relationships started with a simple follow-up message after a virtual meeting. Don't hesitate to reach out to someone whose perspective resonated with you. Share your journey. I've learned as much from sharing my own challenges as from hearing others' successes. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And give back. Networking is a two-way street. Offer your help, share resources, and celebrate others' achievements. The more you give, the more you'll get back, often in unexpected ways. And remember, it's absolutely normal to feel a bit nervous or a bit unsure at first. I certainly did. But every time you reach out, you're building your own confidence and helping someone else to do the same. Importantly, PropEL isn't just a network, it's a community, and it's very much yours to shape. We want this to be a space where you feel comfortable asking questions, sharing ideas and supporting each other. If you have a challenge to bring to the group, do so. If you found a great resource, share it. If you want to connect with someone in a different department, regional specialism, reach out. But more than that, we want PropEL to grow and evolve with you. Today we're meeting virtually, but my hope is that as the network develops, you'll start to arrange your own regional meetups, whether that's a coffee with a local colleague, a site visit, or even a walking tour of an interesting building. Imagine the impact if a year from now there are PropEL meetups happening in every corner of the UK, all organised by yourselves. This is very much your network. The more you put in, the more you'll get out of it, and the more you'll help others along the way. PropEL is more than just professional development. It's about building a community that supports each other, challenges each other, and grows together. Through my career, I've seen the difference that a strong network can make, not just for individuals, but for the whole profession. It's how we innovate, it's how we share best practice, and how we make sure that everyone, regardless of background or location, has the chance to thrive. So as we launch PropEL today, I encourage you to take the first step. If you've not done so already, say hello in the chat, volunteer to get involved, ask a question, and share a resource. If you're feeling brave, why not suggest a local meetup or a virtual coffee with someone new? This network is yours to shape. The connections you make here could open doors that you haven't even imagined yet. And thank you for being here at the start of the journey. I really, really can't wait to see what we achieve together, across government, across the UK, and across every stage of our careers. Thank you. Before I hand back to Becky, I mentioned ACES earlier, and I just wanted to introduce you to Sarah Cameron, one of the countless property people that I've met through networking, and the immediate past president of the Association of Chief Estate Surveyors. Sarah, do you want to say hello?
Hi, yeah, thank you for that, Claire, and congratulations to Becky, Claire, and the rest of the team on launching this network today. I echo everything that Jake and Claire have said about the power of the network, and that's really what the RICS matrix and ACES have done for me in my career, and you know, the messaging that you're getting today is well, I can't really add much to it. All I can add is ACES support. So we are a membership organisation that supports property professionals in the public sector. We're across local government and central government, and we're growing all the time. And over the last couple of years, we've grown a FACES cohort, that's future ACES kind of members, who are across the public sector and going for their APCs. And we've got about 250 known candidates preparing for their RICS APC endpoint qualifications. And we're working with our members who are assessors or mentors, as well as our corporate sponsors. So getting that private sector element into APC candidates' professional development. Networking at its best is about connecting people. Property is a people business. It's not about bricks and mortar, unless you're a quantity surveyor, and there are elements of counting bricks. But property essentially is about how we use, how we develop, how we repurpose buildings for people to be in, and you can't really do that without collaboration. So getting involved and saying yes to opportunities like PropEL or like Faces is only ever going to add to your professional development and your careers at the end of the day. So do get in touch. I'm on LinkedIn if anyone wants to connect with me. You know, I won't tell you about my story, but I've got an interesting squiggly career, so always happy to chat to people. Thanks for the opportunity to say something. Thank you.
Back over to you, Becky, I think.
Brilliant. Thank you, Claire. That was brilliant. And also thank you, Sarah. Really, really great to have you on the call. And just to point out that Sarah and her colleagues at ACES and also VACES have been helping myself and VOA colleagues with getting this network up and running. So a huge thank you. And I suppose just to kind of signpost as well, I'll come on to the government property community portal in just a second, but we do have links to all of the other networks that we know about. And I suppose PropEL isn't to compete with other networks, it's additional to. So there is absolutely, you know, you are more than welcome to be members of various different networks, but we just wanted to kind of you know, build our network to support our people who are on learning and accreditation journeys. But just to let you know, it isn't a competition. It's, you know, we've got lots of the same candidates and members of staff, and Sarah and her colleagues and team are fantastic. So please do check out the portal page, and I'll go on to that in just a second. So that was just a really good segue. So thank you very much, and thank you, Carolyn, for changing the slide. So I think that Tony may be on the call. I'll make a start, and then I'll hand over to, well, I'll bring Tony in just a second. So we've got 3 fantastic ways that you can engage with PropEL from the outset. So as I just mentioned before, you can visit our page. As I say, when I share out these slides, there are links there. You should all already have a government property community portal profile and be able to access that. If you haven't, now is the time to sign up, because this is where PropEL is hosted virtually with all of our online documents. That's where they are. So please sign up if you haven't already. You can let me see, sorry, the link is there. If you haven't got an account, you can go through the process of applying. So you can visit our page. We have information there with regards to the vacancies, our objectives, our aims, and in time there will be information on there on the events that we've set up, and you can also access the what's the word, chat boards. I can't think of the word, but like the online chat boards, I can't think of the word, but that's on our page. So secondly, you can become a member. If you haven't already, I checked this morning, we have, I think it was 43 at last count. We have 43 members who have filled in the smart survey to become a member. So for those who have signed up, I will be in touch with you very shortly. If you want to be a member, please fill in the survey. And the reason for that, it helps us to see who we've got, where you're at, and just to understand like the makeup of our members. So please fill in that to register as a PropEL network member. And then thirdly, we also have 7 volunteer vacancies that are open at the moment. I'll come into that in more details, the specific roles, in just a second. But as we've mentioned, we want PropEL to be run by its members, so it's absolutely vital that you guys get involved. There is opportunity for you, a real opportunity for you to shape the direction of PropEL and to have your say and play your part in this groundbreaking network. So we would really encourage you to apply for those roles. As I say, I'll go into them in more detail in just a second. Again, the link is there. They are open, and I'll go into the closing date in just a second. So what can you expect from PropEL? So we've got on there members events, networking events, and quarterly networking call. But what does that look like? So members events. So like we said before, if we want to hear from you, we want to hear what you want, what you need. So we will very much be led by you, by our members. So just say, for instance, if we have a large group of people who are on the RICS pathway and they're doing, say, commercial real estate, if they come to us and let us know, right, okay, we really need to look into this element, can you help us out on how we can expand our knowledge and our understanding? So we can bring the experts to you, we can bring experts, we can do either online calls, or as Claire had mentioned before, we can look to do some in-person stuff, whether that's a site visit, that kind of thing. With regards to networking events, again, and I haven't been able to read them because they've been going quite fast, but just to say that there has been some comments already in the chat, just to say hands up if you're from a particular area. Excellent, that's what we really want to see. We really want to encourage you to make those connections and not be afraid to kind of say, right, okay, I'm in this area, who else is? Let's meet up, let's share our learning experience. I'm doing this course and I'm really struggling with this element. What's your experience? We really want you to be able to feel connected and be able to speak with your peers regardless of which department or organization that they're from. So with regards to the quarterly networking call, again, that would be an online event. Again, we would take your lead as to what subjects we have in that. I'm gonna volunteer Claire, because Sarah, because you had said before that she would come and kind of tell us her story. So I haven't asked her, so I'm doing this live, and this is probably quite tricky. But we would have experts and say, like, invite people in who have got interesting stories to be able to share those stories. And I know from speaking with Linda Rothsborn, who is our director, she has offered to also speak at one of the subsequent calls after today. So it really is about you guys telling us what it is that you want and what you need, and we will be able to bring the experts to you in various different ways. So I'm just going to check. Tony, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
You are amazing. Was there anything else that you had wanted to add in, Tony, to what we've just discussed there?
No, basically, I've been happily go through my list of things to say and then ticking off whenever somebody else has said them. But I am going to briefly reiterate something that Jake said, which was absolutely, we are greater than some of our parts. This is kind of paraphrase what Jake said. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for us, everybody to see the big picture across the public sector surveyors and be part of it. I just want to sort of go ahead slightly in terms of saying that, as we've mentioned previously, this is a very collaborative and inclusive forum and network, and everybody is welcome from all aspects of cross, wherever you happen to be positioned across the public sector. We're going to put up, and pan back to Becky in a minute, the roles that are available, but please do not think of this as being a competition for roles. We have a certain number of availables, but we want you. We will find a way to involve you. So everybody on this call has the most amazing potential and talent, and it is about harnessing that and making sure that you benefit and that we all benefit, and so that we can be the best that we can be. So that's it for me for now, but thank you for letting me speak.
Amazing, Tony, thank you so much. So another excellent segue. Carol, if you wouldn't mind changing the slide, please. Perfect. So I'll not go into these roles kind of individually. As I say, the links are there. They are live on the portal, so you can click through and get the information on them. But we do have the initial 7 roles, and as Tony says, it's not that there won't be other roles. It's just at the moment we need these 7 roles to get the network up and running. So they are all listed on screen. As I say, you can click through to get more information, but intrinsically what they all have and what they all do is they offer an excellent opportunity for our members to be able to take part at this early stage. It's really vital for us to have you guys in place and in position to be able to take the network forward and shape it and take it forward to be a success. So all of these roles, they would fall in line with your corporate contributions. Not only that, but you would get your face and name out there, as Tony, Claire and Jake had mentioned before. We we're across the public sector, so it's not that you would only be exposed to just one particular group of SLT members. You know, we are talking across the board, and also across different organizations as well. So it's a really excellent opportunity for you to harness any leadership skills that you might want to brush up on. If you're thinking about going for promotion, it would be, you know, these roles would offer excellent opportunities to offer as competency examples. They really do offer an excellent way for you to build those skills, and also to shape the direction of the network, but also to be part of, I suppose, two things: this groundbreaking network, but then also to shape the network and make sure that if there's things that you've kind of thought of previously, oh, you know, we could really do with this, or we could really do with that, or this isn't quite right, this is your opportunity to have your voice heard. And if you're a representative, to speak on behalf of your peer group, to say, this is what we want, this is what we need, let's work together and see if we can get that. So really, really important. So just some information on there with regards to closing date is 6 p.m. on Friday the 10th. That may be extended, but if we go with Friday the 10th of October for now, and if it is extended, I shall let you know. Details for sending the EUIs in there. So it's just a 250-word expression of interest. There's a couple of questions, but it's just kind of like personal detail questions. Please speak with your line manager before you apply. Just to make sure that, you know, they have sight that you're wanting to do that, and they agree that you can do that. So we would really, really encourage you to consider putting yourself forward for one of those roles, and we would be absolutely ecstatic to have you. It's a really, really exciting project. So yeah, anything additional to add on that, Tony, before I move on?
No, all's good with me. Thanks, Becky.
Amazing, thank you. So next slide, please, Caroline. Amazing. So you've heard us, we've been talking for probably 50 minutes now, so it's over to you. So if you have any comments, questions, if you have any suggestions from what you want to see, please pop your hand up. You know, feel free to either put your camera on, leave your camera off, whichever you want to do, or pop the question in the chat. It's over to you for any comments or questions. Just having a... Oh, hi, Alison. Do you want to jump in?
Hi, thanks, Becky. I've put mine in the chat really, but it was just to raise a question about the Level 7 Sustainability Apprenticeship that was launched this year, but unfortunately, due to the changes with the apprenticeship levy, I think the September 25 cohort is actually probably the first and last by the sounds of it. And I just wondered whether there are any plans to replace that with anything, because it really was going to plug a gap. It was quite exciting, and the content looked great.
Absolutely.
So I was just wondering whether there are any plans to kind of plug that gap with something similar.
Yeah, so they're completely like hear you in that comment. Yes, definitely. So yeah, you are correct in that for anyone who is over 21, the September cohort is pretty much would have been like I suppose the last opportunity to take part. If you're under 21, then you will still have the funding. So it's still there. So there is a level 4 sustainability apprenticeship, and I can share some information on that with you. What I'll do is I'll Alison, I'll make a note of your contact details and I can share that with you. But as soon as, if there's anything that would be similar to, like, as in the level 7, what I'll do is I can post on the apprenticeships page of the portal. But let me take down your email address, Alison, and I will share the details of the level 4 with you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that would be great. And
Perfect.
and just for Jake as well, I was
Yeah.
at the National FM conference yesterday, and I was speaking to Meredith May about this, and she was going to try and put me in touch with Jake. So yeah, I'll be emailing her. I might come round that way about it as
Absolutely.
well. Thank you.
Brilliant.
That's
Thank you.
networking for you.
Exactly. Thank you so much. And then we also have a question for, I can see Hannah, I can't quite see the name. Oh, sorry. This Hugo.
Hi, thanks very much. There are some people with some really interesting specialisms across government,
Yeah.
just visible from the chat. So,
Yeah.
really good idea, really exciting network to be a part of. I was just wondering how we would go about, utilizing that network and finding people on the chat, perhaps that we, would like to connect with or arrange a meetup. How do we take it further from this point?
Absolutely. So as I say, if you register to be part of the network, then what I'll be doing is I'll be sharing out some like newsletters, this kind of thing. But what you can do is on the sorry, we call it the portal. So on the government property community page, which is the portal that you need to have the to sign up for an account for. We have, I can't think of the word, apologies. I'm middle-aged and I can't think of the word, but it's like
You've
a
got
chat
like a
board.
register of members kind of thing, and you can like look at search someone's name, see their email, and is there something like that?
So I have those, but just due to kind of data protection, I'll have to kind of, let me take that away as a question, but I don't know if I would be able to kind of advertise that. But certainly what we can do is on the platform, there wouldn't be, you could kind of say, so on the chat page, you could say, right, okay, so I'm Hugo, I'm from this page, right, okay, I'd like to link it in with people who are specializing in, say, sustainability. Then then other people are free to say, well, I work in sustainability, this is where I'm at. So we can definitely do that, and I suppose it will evolve kind of as we go along. But let me take the question. I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I will be able to share the list of names that I have due to data security and protection and that kind of thing, but we can certainly find a way that we can make communication in our network so that other people can see your messages and come to you on reply to your question.
Yeah, if you wanted in the chat, some people are talking about arranging stuff for their locality.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much.
You're absolutely welcome. Do we have any more question? Anyone else feel brave to pop their hand up and come off mute and have a chat? No? Okay. Oh, yes. Andre?
Yeah, hi. Yeah, hi. So it's just in relation to something I just popped in the chat.
Okay.
Quite separately, it's an external provider that I guess promotes courses. Sent me an email today, and it was suggested that the government's expected to change funding in the November budget, with a strong push towards supporting younger learners, and the provider suggesting this could almost certainly mean less funding for upskilling existing staff and older employees. My question is this true? Is this a trend that is perceived as likely to take place? Would you have any insights on that?
So can I just check, Andre? Sorry, because there was a little bit of noise in the background. So let me just replay what I kind of heard. Let me just check what your question is. So are you asking about the funding specifically for apprenticeships for those who are over 21? Is that correct?
Yes, I guess that would be most applicable in this instance. Yeah.
Yeah, so you are correct. There was an announcement kind of earlier in the year that funding is, I suppose, being directed more towards kind of some of the funding, I should say, sorry, like the level 7 is being directed to those who are kind of under 21. Apprenticeships are still available for people of kind of any age. We do now have that limitation with regards to the level 7, but outside of the level 7, apprenticeships are available for anyone to access. So I'm just gonna ask both Claire and Carolyn if they have anything additional to kind of to add into that. But I think what I would say is outside of the level 7 funding being directed, there shouldn't be any reason why a person couldn't apply for an apprenticeship. So I'll just ask Claire and Carolyn if they're able to share anything further on that.
I'm not personally aware of anything further on the funding, but of course, we used to fund people to go on courses prior to apprenticeships existing. So all of these courses are available with funding. So it might be a case of making a business case to your employer to support you on a particular program that's outside of the funding now.
Brilliant. Thanks, Claire. Carolyn, would you add anything further?
Yeah, we've got
I'm not aware of anything either.
No.
And noting your comment about the November budget, Andre, but not heard anything further. But we can keep this group updated. And yes, exactly, we're civil servants, so hopefully for us, funding may still be available through other learning provisions if necessary. But not heard of anything so far.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you. Do we have any other questions? No? Okay. What I'll do then is I'll just briefly summarize. If there's any questions in the chat that I haven't gotten to, what I'll do is I'll come out and answer those. So I suppose just in kind of summary, so the call to action is you can check out our PropEL page, which is on the Government Property Community Portal. You can join our network by filling in the smart survey, and then you can apply for any of our vacancies that are available. So this call has been recorded and will be shared on the PropEL page. And then also, if you are on LinkedIn, like Sarah had mentioned before, please feel free to connect. I'm on there. I'm connected with most people that are on the call from the team. You can search for us doing hashtag PropEL spelled that way. And you can also follow our government property function page that puts out our news announcements. So I suppose in summary, I just want to say thank you so much to Tony, to Claire, to Sarah, to Carolyn, and to Jake. And most importantly, thank you to all of you for attending. It's really, really lovely to see you. And as mentioned before, it's excellent to see that there's so many different people from so many different organizations who are on the call. We look forward to you joining the network. What I'll do is I'll stay on the call for another couple of minutes. I'll stop the recording. I'll stay on the call. If there's anybody who wants to ask any questions, I'll be available for the next few minutes. That's absolutely fine. But just to say thank you so much. And I am really looking forward to PropEL and it's kind of it moving on, and I'm really excited about the future collaboration that we have. So thank you very much for attending. Really, really appreciate it. So I'm going to stop the recording. I'll stay on, but please feel free to drop off if you want to, but I'm here for questions. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Goodbye.